Daniel Villegas, not guilty of...
The story of Daniel Villegas is the story of a 16-year-old teenager from El Paso who was convicted of a double murder based on a false confession.
Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So you guys see who I got on today. He's been on the channel before. We did a part one. He did a lot of years in prison. What's up, man? Like 17 years. And then, went back on an appeal, went to trial, got found not guilty. I'll link the part one to that interview in the description of this video so y'all can go check that out. If you're new and you're tuning in for the first time, man, hit that subscribe button and turn your post notifications on. So in today's episode, what we're going to do, man, he's done a lot of years in prison. So I don't usually do this. We're going to tell a lot of crazy stories about what he saw go down when he did his time in the Texas prison system. So, man, why don't you go ahead, for the people that are tuning in for the first time and don't know who you are, just go ahead and introduce yourself to them and tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name is Daniel Villegas. I'm out of El Paso, Texas, and I was wrongfully convicted in 1995 for 2 capital murder cases that I did not commit.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, and the video, man, of you in court was even crazier, man. So I'm glad you're out, man, but you did all your time in Texas prison, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, take us through it. When did you really run into your first camp where shit was popping off?
It was my first prison. It was because I was young, and then I had a lot of time, so they put me in what they call a gladiator farm. It's where everybody goes and fights and all that stuff. It's a bunch of majority of us are a bunch of youngsters, and that's how I was. I went into it was called the Burning Hell. It was down in South Texas, Clements. And like I said, that place was really bad. It was really rough. When I went up in there, I mean, there was dice games going on in the day room, people gambling 24/7. And I mean, you had prostitution, and it was like literally a freaking world inside of a world.
So it's all juveniles in there?
Not everybody, but yeah, the majority are juveniles. I had a 14-year-old kid in there.
So when you went in at that age and you were in prison, did you have people that were sending you money? Did you have people that, that were supporting you still on the street?
Well, the only people that were supporting me on the street were my family. They were the only ones who sent me money, right, who did anything. And it was like my mom, my dad, and they would come see me at, it was depending where I was at the moment and how close they were. Because most of the time, they had me way out in East Texas or South Texas, and we live at the very point of West Texas. Going to another country. No matter what prison I went to, I was like freaking 8-9 hours away from my house. So but as far as support system goes, that's all I had.
How did that work for you when you were in prison and they're sending you money? Because in Florida, when you say jits and young kids, usually, robberies are going down for canteen and shit like that. So how did that work in Texas for you?
Like with us, we had now it's a different way of doing it. Right before I left, they changed it. But they used to have what they call, money slips. And you would send them to your house or whoever's going to send you the money. And then they would fill it out. That's your name, your TDC number, how much money you're going to put in. And then it'd be a money order that you'd put in there, right? And then you send it to Huntsville, and then Huntsville will process it and put in your books. And that usually took anywhere from 3 weeks to a month. So if they hit it in the beginning of June, you probably get it at the end of June, early July. And then later on, they started getting more tech savvy, and they got what they call JPay and all that. And now, or Western Union was one of the first ones that came out. And you just give money to them, and then they ship it to whoever you want to go to within 3 days instead of you having to wait that long period. And then now they have JPay and different organizations or I'll say banking systems or whatever that do the same function, but now it's within 24 hours.
So did you ever have anybody try to rob your canteen when you were in there? Because you were obviously getting money to get canteen, right?
No, I never had nobody try to rob me. As far as going myself and robbing, no.
Does that go down in Texas? People just
that goes down. Yeah, I mean, I used to do that too. You get a young guy and they coming out of commissary, they got them big old bags and stuff, man. As soon as they hit that corner, it's on and popping in their life. You know what I mean? These
are the stories I'm trying to get from you. So take the people that are watching through it, man. How did your first robbery go down? Like, did you get the whole bag, the whole thing?
You know, it went down, and it wasn't that I even needed the money, because you know I have my people would send me money, but what it was like I said, I just wanted to be a part of everything. You know, I was part of like I said, I was gonna make that my living. You know, so that was part of one of the hustles we had. You know, you what happens is, you know, you see these guys going to commissary, and then they had this little hallway where they turn the corner, and then you go into your cell blocks, and that little corner was like a little, you know, it was a little blind spot, you know? So that's where you usually would get them at. You'd wait right there, and then when you see them people turn that corner, you just hit them up. And, you know, what I would do is, like, my first one, I remember, you know, it was the dude was coming around the corner, and then the dude told me, all right, man, as soon as he comes around the corner, man, just fucking don't even tell him shit. Don't even tell him you're taking it. Just punch him in the face. I'm going to grab the bag, and then you tell him what you're going to do, bitch. So I said, all right. So I fucking, as soon as that dude turned that corner, I hit him, boom. And dude fucking stumbled, so I hit him again, boom, and then he hit the floor. And then when he hit the floor, my homeboy grabbed the bag from him, and then I told him, what you gonna do, bitch?
So when you were robbing people, man, did you ever go to rob somebody and they were like swift with it, and they like you couldn't get the shit?
Yeah, you had some people that'll fight back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It's not like, yeah, you have, you know what I'm saying? It's not, you know, it's you know, you gotta think back then we didn't give a fuck about really you know, the ones who really didn't get robbed, you know, were already people who, like, gladiators didn't get robbed. And, you know, you had certain people that already had the reputations and shit that didn't get robbed. And they had people, like, you know, that they cut it for, that, you know, if you fuck with them, you're going to fuck with that big dog. So you don't want to fuck with them. You know, you had them people that, you know, so you won't fuck with them. You won't rob them. But, you know, I mean, you always try your luck with anybody. You know, you always want to try your luck with anybody. Who gives a damn how they look like or whatever, man? I mean, shit, money's money, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because you can have a big old motherfucker, man, and that dude will catch that pussy quicker than a little motherfucker that big. You know what I mean?
I know. I've seen it.
He'll catch it way quicker, man. That little guy will, I guess, you know, little guys always used to fight out. Like, so, you know, I was more scared of hitting a little guy than a big guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the little guys are quick.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. During your time doing that shit, have you ever robbed somebody and then after it was all said and done, like you felt bad about what you did?
Oh, no.
No.
Hell no. Like I told you, when I got convicted, I was dead. I was dead inside. I did not have no more life for me. There was no more love in me. There was not shit in me, man. I was a totally different person I am now, man. I was a piece of shit in there. You know, I was a piece of shit. And I had no mercy for nobody. You know, I didn't have mercy for my homeboys. You know what I mean? I didn't have mercy for nobody, man. I would always test everybody at any moment, you know, and that's how I lived my life. I was always living it, testing everybody, because you really, on the cool, you know, when I really started thinking about it, what it really is you don't have the balls to kill yourself, right? To commit suicide and shit. Although it'll go through your head a lot of times, you don't got the balls to actually do it. So you'll do some fucking stupid fucking shit, hoping somebody will fucking take you out, you know?
Yeah.
And then when they do come and fucking try to do it, you know, instinct takes over and you know, thank God.
Go to defend yourself.
That didn't happen to me, you know, but that's really what we're seeking. You know, we're seeking death. So, you know, there's no mercy. There's no who gives a fuck about anything. And that's how I was. I would walk around with my fucking timesheet, right? You know, and it had, you know, the time it said, you know, sentence, it didn't have a number, it had a fucking letter. It said LIFE. And then it said parole date 9999999 all the way around. So just think about it. It's like 3 a.m, right? And you know, you're going to chow. It's all fucking quiet, you know what I'm saying? No one wants to really talk and shit. You know, you got your guards right there. And then, you know, so the guard, they always insert the night shift's the worst fucking guards ever. So they're so fucking bored when there is traffic around. They just want to fuck with somebody. You know what I mean?
That's exactly how they are too, man.
Yeah. So they'll be wanting to fuck. It's quiet as fuck, and this motherfucker yelling, you know, shut the fuck up in my goddamn hallway. Stop bumping your goddamn gums, motherfuckers. And I'll be like, what the fuck? This motherfucker, it's goddamn fucking 3 a.m, bitch. Ain't nobody talking. So I would be like, fuck you, bitch. Right? He'll be like, the goddamn guard will be like, what? Who the fucking gosh dang said that bullshit? And I'll come out that motherfucking night. I'll be like, I said it, bitch. And I'll pull out my fucking timesheet and I'll throw it at him. I'll be like, bitch, fuck you. Look at that. write the fucking as many cases you want to do to that goddamn ink goes dry on that motherfucking pen you got open. And they'll be like, oh shit. And then, you know, they wouldn't want to fuck with you no more. They'll be like, all right, just go about your business. And then that's when you get all hyped up and shit and go, that's what I thought, bitch, suck my dick.
You had one of those moments, man, like there's just some mornings you wake up in there, man, and you're just like, fuck everything. We're running whatever today. And that's what prison gets you to sometimes. And it's usually the guards that get you to that point because they push you, like you're saying, at the night shift people. Like they just, it's nonstop fuckery all the time, man. And eventually the motherfucker's going to snap. And that sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah, I would snap on them all the time, you know, because I didn't, like I said, I really, man, I just didn't give a shit. I had like, you had them guards, man, you know, you had them fucking police officers, them G.I. Joe motherfuckers. And yeah, them RoboCop bitches, man, and fuck, man, I would have them motherfuckers in my pocket. You know what I mean? I would have them in my pocket, man, because they knew, man, I didn't give a fuck.
How old were you when you first landed in prison?
18.
When you first started those first couple of years of your sentence, did you ever have any issues with like booty bandits? Or how are they out there in Texas? Like, how does that work?
You know, like, I never really had a problem with a booty bandit, only because remember when like in the first show, when I told you when I handled all them dudes up, well, I didn't handle them. They fucking, you know, I just fucking withstood everything and then make sure, and I just kept throwing punches, you know what I mean? But, you know, after that, you know, nobody really, you know, and then, like I said, I was watching the game and stuff. I was watching how people do shit, and I started jumping in there as quick as I could. I was always from the street anyway, so, you know, I was, after that fucking first initiation, it was, when I got into a shit with people, it wasn't because when they tried to rob me, it wasn't so much they ran and grabbed my shit. It was because, you know, we had a gambling bet. This motherfucker running from me because he didn't want to pay it, or how fucking he bought something from me or something, and the motherfucker running. That's the type of shit that I would have, you know, when I go at it with people, or you just have them dudes, man, that just walk up in that fucker and you know, that think they're fucking God's gift to the world, man, that they just can't be touched.
It's usually, man, the fucking dude in the dorm with the biggest mouth. They're usually soft as shit, and all they do, their talk game's on point, and usually their talk game wins them a lot of fights until you get someone like you or me, you know what I'm saying? Then we're just going to be like, bro, let's see what that shit's about, you know what I mean? So how does that work then in Texas as far as like booty bandits, predators, like, because in Florida, man, it's crazy. So that's why, you know, like, is it like that out there, or do the inmates, is that a no-go?
No, it's you can do that all day long, you know, and that's what happens all day long. You got them dudes that are, you know, you get. And you know what usually happens a lot of times? Okay, like say a prison goes into a riot, right? This is when you're gonna get that booty bandit activity big time. So when a prison goes into a riot, a lot of times they'll ship everybody out, or you know, not everybody, but they'll ship a lot of people out. You know what I mean? Right. And they'll bring a bunch of new motherfuckers in. And then once them new motherfuckers come in, that's when it's open season. You know what I mean? It's like, oh hell yeah! Even though they're still old to the system, you know what I mean? They're still new in that prison. So you know, everybody starts, you know, everybody automatically, you start choosing who you want, man. I got this. Literally, man, it's like this. Like say this dude walks in there and I want him. This other guy want him. Literally, there's dudes fighting for who's gonna get the first shot to take that dude. You know? That's how it was in there.
So it's kind of just like Florida then. It sounds maybe a little worse than Florida. So then the inmates that don't fuck with that shit, do they allow that shit to go down in the dorm? Like, is it, because in Florida, like, it's just like, yo, at this time, you know, this dude and this dude always take a shower together. You know what I'm saying? So nobody goes in the open bay shower at that time. Is it kind of like that where like your program on how you're doing time's built into just that being like a regular fucking occurrence?
Yeah, I mean, you would have that, but let's just say you go to a prison where there's much older guys, there's more respect, there's not a lot of fighting going on, there's more stabbings and fightings, you know? In prisons like that, you're gonna have that type of system. You know, when I got older and I went to those type of prisons, you had that type of system. Everybody was more of a respecting, you know what I mean? Hey, we had this, and we're gonna, this is our time to do this and this, or like if you're gonna do something, you know, you let everybody else, you know, you let certain people know, you know, that's supposed to know, hey man, y'all need to go to commissary, man, and pile up, man, because we finna go on lockdown for a while. You know, in them older farms, you know, with older guys, man, you got that system. In the younger ones, there's no such thing as that system. It's no, I got my hour. It's like, no, you do it right there. Fuck you. You know.
When you did all your time, how many prisons did you go to?
I went to I kept getting shit to for a while because when I went to prison, it was a big fucking gang war going on, and so everybody out of El Paso, they didn't care if you're a Christian, you know, whatever the fuck. If you fell out of El Paso, they associated you with that fucking gang, and they were gonna hit you. You know what I mean? And so, and then at that time, El Paso had it like we were fucking everybody in the fucking almost in the state of Texas were going at it with us. You know what I mean? That's why I got shipped a lot. You know, those times that I'll go to a prison, they wouldn't even let me to population. They'll be like, oh no, somebody just got killed from El Paso here, man. Ship him out of here. You know what I mean? So that's how. So I went through a lot of prisons, but the prisons like I've stood at one prison. It was the Robertson unit. It was in Abilene, Texas. I stood at that one for 10 years, and that was because at that time I was already older, and nobody else wanted me. They literally tried to ship me out of that prison like 3 times, and every time I went to another prison, they were like, "Fuck that shit! You're going back to Robertson unit. We don't want you here."
So out of your time, how much time do you think you spent in solitary?
In solitary, I probably spent probably half my time in solitary because I was that motherfucker that I was that fucking dude that was always gonna fucking go at it with the cops. I mean, I'm literally that's who I was. I fucking hated them motherfuckers, and I thought to myself, you know, in my mind, you know, I'm here for some bullshit I didn't do, and so fuck you, bitch. I'm gonna make your fucking life a living hell. Blame the fucking judge who sentenced me, asshole. I would do so much fucked up shit. I'll tell you some shit I'll do. Like, okay, like let's say it's gonna be shift change, right? We're at second shift here, right? So let's say second shift's like 2 to fucking 10. And they're gonna do a fucking shift change, right? And so these guys are fucking planning, or these girls are fucking planning to go out and have fun and whatever, right? And I hear them talking about their plans, right? So what I would do, I would fucking rig my fucking door, get butt naked, put my fucking boots on and put a bunch of baby oil on me. And then when it's rack time and fucking, I'll jack that fucking doorman and come out that bitch. You know? Right about like 30 to 40 minutes before they
you ain't even playing, bro. You were all in.
Day room on that bitch ass, you know? And then they'll be like, get in the fucking cell. I'll be like, fuck you, bitch. Suck my dick. Bring in the Doom Squad. And then they'll be like, they'll come out with the fucking cameras and all that shit, and they'll film you and get in your cell, suck my dick, bring the goddamn Doom Squad. And then you could hear them hoes coming. Fucking shield, right? So, you know, and then fuck, I'll be like, fuck you, bitch. I'm not hearing it, man. Bring it up. So they would have to fucking shoot the gas, hit me with the fucking bullets and stupid ass shit they had, and come in there and take me down. You know what I mean? And then they would beat the fuck out of me after a while, you know?
That was going to be my next question. So if you're thugging like that, bro, and you're bucking the system like all the time, eventually they're going to beat the fuck out of you to a point where like you lay low for a couple months, if not forever. When did that moment happen for you?
It never did. It never broke me. No, I'm not lying, man. I mean, hey, you can ask my mom and everybody, man. Them fuckers, man. When they were like, I tell you, when they would beat my ass and they'll put me in the back of that cell, they'll be talking shit because it's already like 3 in the fucking morning now. They can't leave until all that shit gets cleaned up and the paperwork goes. You know what I mean? So it'd already be at 3 fucking in the morning and shit. They're fucking already passed overtime a fuckload, and then they're talking shit to me, motherfucker. And I'm beat the fuck up. I'm fucking hurting, broken arm, whatever. And they'll be fucking boom, fucking talking all that shit. And my only response will be, bitch, you didn't go out tonight, ho. Dick sucker. I got a life sentence, ho. I don't give a fuck. When your goddamn kid graduates and comes over here, I'll still be in this motherfucker. So fuck you. You didn't go out tonight. That was my whole goal, was to make your bitch ass stay here and do paperwork in this motherfucking prison with me, ho. And they will put me in that fucking black box and starve the fuck out of me, man. I was fucking hallucinating.
What do you mean they'll put you in a black box? You're talking about when you're in the cell, then black box you?
Yeah, they had this page they would call the dungeon, and it was like literally like kind of underground, you know what I mean? And there were cells and they were black out. They were black cells. I mean, you just throw you in there, they close that fucking door, man, and there's no fucking light. You don't know if it's day or night. And the only time you fucking see light when they open up that stupid little bean slot, when they and then you get that little light coming in through there, but that was it. Then you got the rats coming out the fucking toilet, man. These rats will literally come out the fucking toilet bowl. You know? You hear, and you can't see shit. You can just feel them fuckers touching you and squealing in that bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Man, Texas is savage, bro.
Oh man, they were fucked up, man. They were a bitch ass state, man. I mean, I love my state a lot, man, but that fucking prison system is fucked up. I mean, you gotta think it's a bunch of fucking hillbillies, man. They don't give a fuck. It's out there, the fucking warden, the fucking major, the goddamn lieutenant, all them sons of bitches are related. You fuck with one, you fuck with all. You know what I mean? Anything that fucks you, and then everybody in that town loves the prison because that's their fucking economy.
So when you were in prison and you're thugging like you're saying, and you're living that life, like what was the worst like fight that you got into, or like a stabbing, like out of your whole time when you look back, when you were like, damn, that was a close one?
I just got hit in this one prison, and so they're shipping me out of there, right? And so when I'm getting shipped to my supposedly safe prison, right? I guess you want to call them, because they're tripping you out supposedly for your health. I go to this prison, and on the way there, I'm hearing these dudes talking about how they're on lockdown for killing a dude out of El Paso. So I'm like, what the fuck? So when we get there, we go to, I go to UCC and all that crap. I go to my fucking cell, and as soon as they find out, man, as soon as I walk up in that bitch, they already know who I am and what the fuck, right? So they're telling me to catch out. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not catching out. You got me fucked up. So they tell me to go to the fucking rec yard. So I said, all right. So I fucking go to the rec yard, and these motherfuckers, man, they were like all with the handball courts, right? I walked right up to them, took my shirt out, and I was like, man, puro chuco, bitch. And then I started fucking going at it with these dudes, and they fucking tore me off a bone. I literally, man, the nurse was saying that I was like, my whole face looked like it was coming off. And I kept trying to get up, and they kept on kicking me down and telling me to fucking just stay down. So anyway, man, when after all that shit was said and done, man, they fucking almost killed me. I was like dead for like 5-6 minutes or some shit, you know. They fucked me up real bad.
How many of the dudes were you fighting?
I mean, I don't know how many dudes I was fighting. I can't tell you that, but I'll tell you, there was like 30, 40 motherfuckers out there. I mean, not all of them are gonna hit you, you know what I'm saying? But you know, there was all them fuckers, and as soon as I fucking walked up to him, I fucking swung at the first dude, and it was on him popping. I don't remember shit. I just remember, only thing I remember is getting hit in the back and like seeing fucking stars. And after that, I just fucking 3 weeks later, I'm fucking waking up with this fucking tube in my dick and this fucking shit in my mouth. You know what I mean?
When you get in a fight like that, man, and you really get the fucking brakes beat off you, it takes you like a month, 2 months just to feel like, you know, get your like shit back. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it was for me. I got hit with brass knuckles one time. Yeah, bro. That shit hit me in the next month. Up, bro. Hell yeah.
They literally fucked me up, man. That was the worst ass whipping I ever took. The ass stabbing and everything, man. They turned me up for another one, man.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you coming on the channel again. Just so everybody knows that's tuning in, we're gonna bring his wife on. She's, you know, kind of been with him through everything, and we're gonna get, you know, her perspective on what she went through, you know, dealing with everything. Because you know, when we're in prison and we're in jail, families go through a lot of shit, you know what I mean? And so we're going to hear that perspective, you know, the emotions and all that juicy shit. So, but I appreciate you coming on the channel again, man. You want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, to my baby now. I give a shout out to Amanda, man, because that's my backbone, man. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the person I am today, man. She's the one who really showed me how to be a man. So shout out to my baby girl, man. Amanda Faith Viegas. Love you, baby.
Yeah, man. Big salute to her. And, you know, they say behind every good man is a great woman. So it sounds like that's
hell yeah.
Anyways, again, thanks for coming on the channel again. If you're new and you're tuning in for the first time, man, and you like these kind of episodes and bringing people on and doing interviews, man, hit that subscribe button, man. Show your boy some support, share this, and like the video. And with that, it's DOC TV, and we're out.